Joining us now, the CEO, the president, the founder of NewsMax, Chris Ruddy. Excited about Sean Spicer's exclusive interview tonight with President Trump, 6 p.m. Hey, Chris, great to have you with us.
John, that is such a wind-up. I'm not sure I can live up to the expectation. I think I better just end the show now and just leave it at that. I mean, that's better than anything I could say.
This is the first exclusive interview with the president during this crisis that we're in right now. Sean got him. Everybody's going to be picking this up. I can't wait for the interview tonight. And 6 p.m., check it out on NewsMax TV. You got to go. And if you look, DirecTV 349. Hey, so yesterday I'm on NewsMax. So, of course, my family, all my friends, they're all like, well, NewsMax. Nobody asked me what channel it was on. I was shocked at that. Like, I figured people would be texting me, what channel? Where is it? Where can I find it? They knew it was on DirecTV 349, the Dish 2016, Xfinity 1115. Normally, I would get a bunch of texts asking me, what channel, where can I find it? I didn't get a single person ask me where it was.
You know what, John?
That means you're making progress.
John, we're now in 70 million cable homes. We're on every major cable system. We even have an app you can download on your iPhone or Android. You can watch us anywhere in the world at any time, free, no subscription, no paywall. And, you know, we have a killer lineup today, but the president, I mean, Sean Spicer has a really great show. It's called Spicer & Company. It's on at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then repeats at 9 p.m. tonight. But the president really wants to sit down with Sean and NewsMax. He likes NewsMax. He's told me that many times. And he wants to talk about what's going on in the country and really give his perspective. And Sean's decided, he said, look, I want to ask the president about how this is personally affecting him as a man, as a husband, as a father. And I think we're going to see a personal side of the president we haven't seen before. So it's going to be a really explosive interview. It's at least a half hour, we're told. Mm-hmm. So the president usually doesn't give half-hour interviews. It's usually 5 or 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a really – and I think it's a sign the country wants something not more than CNN and MSNBC for sure, but they want something more than Fox News. You know, Tucker Carlson the other night was ripping the president, attacking the president, saying he says embarrassing things and he's failing in leadership. I don't think the president's failing in leadership. I think he's a good leader. Mm-hmm. And I think the fact he went over to that church is a powerful statement. And the protesters, you know, the peaceful protesters, they almost burned the church the night before. That's why he was going to the church, not because they were peaceful. And they had no permit to be there. You just can't have a crowd of 10,000 people show up outside your house. You can be required to have a permit. You know, I think it's just a sign the press is out to get this guy, and that's why NewsMax plays such an important role.
I mean, I was taken aback by Tucker Carlson's commentary. I think it was, Monday night, right? This is Wednesday. I think it was Monday night. It was a 30-minute monologue. I mean, I can, you know, appreciate his independence and some of the things he said. But, look, I really thought this church thing, I mean, we got businesses getting burned to the ground. We got people afraid for their lives. We got cops being shot left and right. We have Antifa in there leveraging legitimate protesters. We've got organized crime. You know, in New York, Chris, when I was there Monday, I was there Sunday night. By the way, thank you for hosting me, NewsMax Monday. Your people are fantastic. Thank you. I just have to tell you that.
Well, we're glad. Anytime you're in New York, you're allowed to go. We call it Fort Reagan. And
I should really go there once a month because, look, I got a chance to meet Greg Kelly. I got a chance to meet Sean. I met Emma. Your people that come on at 9. Your staff is just fabulous there. You know, look, they got to get in there at 5 a.m. and let me in. Nobody feels like doing that. But I had that nice conference room set up, and we were on Facebook Live, and it's just your staff there, 10, just fabulous. And I really enjoyed the opportunity. But, Sunday night when I was staying there in New York City and I came in, you know, looking out the window, you could see what was going on. And, you know, we were told that there was advance teams on bicycles picking the location to best loot that they thought would have the highest end with the lowest police presence. I mean, now you're not protesting anything when you've got basically organized crime syndicates coming in behind the protesters, burning stores, taking stuff out, and then putting them into trucks.
Look, this was a highly sophisticated protest operation. This just didn't spring up and organic, and they were prepared. Where do they get flash bombs from? Where do they get the incendiary devices they've had. And then the coordination, as you're saying, they say they have scouts out looking for things. They were able to massive, very powerful communication systems. These are not things you organize ad hoc. So somebody funded this, somebody organized it, and that's why I think Antifa, the president, declared it domestic terrorism. He knows that they're one of the key players in this. And he got criticized for doing it.
Well, it's like even criticized for going to the church. I mean, we got Washington's getting burned to the ground. I mean, I came in last night. I was out of town for 3 weeks. Came back to my studio. Hogan Gidley from the White House said it's going to be unrecognizable when you come into town. You've been away for 3 weeks on your tour. Take a deep breath. You know, windows were open. I'm coming into town. You could smell the smoke.
Wow.
And it's like, what's going on in my city? Now, the president goes to the church. Barr says he dispersed the crowd because they weren't supposed to be there. And that's been the headline for 2 days, that the president walked to a church. Excuse me? Like, what does that have to do with anything going on now?
It seems to me that, look, anything the guy does, they attack and criticize. I think that he's standing up for law and order. He says he's the law and order president. I believe it. And the public's not going to look at the burning and the looting of the cities. American people don't stand for that. So the president's done, and, you know, he has reached out in some of his comments. The speech he gave the other day at the Rose Garden, I think it was a very powerful, and it had a unifying message. But we all have to agree to the rule of law. You can't just go out and steal and loot and set fires and burn down police stations, kill and shoot police officers. There's now been several that have been shot at, and one died, I believe, already.
Yes, sir.
And we've had people murdered already over this. So this is not showing racial justice by going out and killing people. These people don't care about racial justice at the end of the day. A lot of them are anarchists. Most of them, if you look at the crowds, a lot of them aren't even black. They found two of the guys that threw Molotov cocktails at New York City police cars the other night were lawyers. One of them was an African-American guy who had gone to Princeton and was at one of the top law firms in New York. Mm-hmm. You know, this is not somebody that has suffered repression. Mm-hmm. So I think the president, you know, the public is seeing through this. His approval numbers have been pretty strong throughout this. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things we want to explore with him is where he goes with this with Joe Biden, and why the Democrats are using race against him. You know, you mentioned the book by David Horowitz, which is a great book. It's called Blitz. And David wrote this book, you know, in the past year, and he said the Democrats were going to incite a race war to stop Trump. And it's in the book. Mm-hmm. The book's just out this week. And David hit it right on the head. This is a race war that they're trying to gin up, because they know they can't win against Trump unless they do something crazy like this.
That's why we had the COVID lockdowns, which is now ridiculous. You can't shoot baskets in a park, but you can have 1,000 people protest and rally and run around major cities, but you can't go bowling, you can't get a haircut, you can't go to a gymnasium. I mean, come on, Chris, this thing is really, it's being exposed for the fraudulent lockdown that is.
The whole thing has been ridiculous, right? They didn't even want two people in a park. They were arresting a mother with her kids or a father with his kids in a park with no one else around.
Unbelievable.
Remember the police officer shows up at the guy's house in Wisconsin or Michigan and says, you know, you have two kids playing in the house. It's not allowed. Meanwhile, you have 10,000 protesters not doing social distancing, not wearing masks, and the press doesn't say anything about it.
No, that's
They don't
fine.
talk about it at all.
Yeah, it's selective justice. I mean, you got the Governor Murphy, we talked about this earlier, in New Jersey, arrested somebody that was trying to organize a protest against a lockdown on Facebook. Never organized it. They found it. They locked her up. They handcuffed her. Meantime, we got thousands of people protesting in Trenton, Newark, Jersey City, and that's fine. We're with Chris Ruddy. He's the founder. He's the CEO, as the president of NewsMax. Sean Spicer, a major breaking news interview with President Trump tonight, 6 p.m., replayed at 9 p.m. on NewsMax. Let me give you these stations because this is the interview you don't want to miss. DirecTV 349, The Dish 216, Xfinity 1115, Spectrum Fios 615, Uverse 1220, Cox Charter, you name it, they got it. Check your channel guide. Chris, a couple more minutes. You started NewsMax. It's been around a while, but recently you've really stepped up the game here, and now you're positioning yourself as a real news alternative to some of the other cable stations. My audience knows I'm not a fan of Fox. I haven't been for a long time. I just don't find it interesting. So let me ask you something. What is your vision here? What's the big picture?
Look, we're a country now of 360 million Americans, and all we have is Fox News. If you're a conservative-leaning Reaganite American and you believe in God and faith and family, and it's not a good commentary. I count 11 cable channels that are liberal. You start with CNN, MSNBC, CNN Headline News, Bloomberg. There are channels like the Comedy Channel is a news channel because the kids all watch it for news. And it's all liberal. It all tax Trump, tax traditional values all day long. So I think the country desperately needs an additional voice. And that's why I started NewsMax years ago as a website. We've had tremendous success. NewsMax.com is one of the most influential websites, most popular. But we started a cable channel about 5 years ago. And people said, you'll never get on the cable systems. We're now on every major cable system. I do feel a hand of providence in this that we've been able to. I didn't have the checkbook Rupert Murdoch had, but I was able to get on all the cable systems. I mean, we now have the president going on the shows. He's been previously on Newsmax in past years, but nothing recent. But now that we're on most cable homes, we reached out and said, look, we really need to have the president's voice. And he said, I want to go on Sean Spicer's show. And the president's watching the network every night. He says to me, he sees Greg Kelly's show. He loves that. Rudy Giuliani's coming up tonight on the Chris Salcedo show at 5 p.m. before the Spicer show. Mm-hmm. Rudy was on the other night. We have just a powerhouse group of people that are coming on. And, we're not saying we're the be-all and end-all. I just think that the public needs to have this additional voice, and this country needs it because, as you saw in the Tucker Carlson monologue the other night, Fox is changing. It is not always supporting the president.
Mm-hmm. Financially, is your advertising and sponsorships growing in a way that can give you long-term financial viability?
Well, we've always had a strong digital company, and that's continuing to grow. And our cable TV channel and advertising is growing. And so it's all, if you advertise things and want to advertise on NewsMax, we have a great audience for people that might be responsive for the people who watch news. So check out the channel.
All right. Well, that's the key. Obviously, as you guys continue to grow, is getting financial advertising behind it in order to allow you to do that. Look, I love your vision. I love what you're doing. I want you to answer to me the future of media in this country. Watching how they're covering the recent events of the past couple of days is it's almost like they're encouraging this unlawful behavior. I want to get your take on that. A lot of these media outlets, Chris Ruddy, founder and CEO of NewsMax, supporting or appearing to support the lawlessness. Why is this happening?
Well, I think that the country is divided by people that really don't like the country. And we have a lot of people that don't see America as an important nation on the world stage. We're just like everyone else. In fact, some of them probably think we should be run out of the United Nations, which is run by a bunch of dictators. Most of the countries there are authoritarian or dictators. But there are people that want to have a sovereign nation, and the country is divided about the direction. I think that the majority support the president. The majority want to have a strong United States, and they don't believe in lawlessness. And I think we're going to see in the election a little surprise for the Democrats who are pushing this. Joe Biden's campaign staffers actually gave money to bail out protesters and rioters that were jailed in Minnesota. I mean, if you were jailed in Minnesota, they were only jailing the worst people out there, the thugs. And for the Biden campaign to be paying for their bail money after they were lighting fires and threatening the police and hurling incendiary devices, I mean, this is sick stuff. So I think, but you don't hear that on the nightly news. I just saw the NBC nightly news the other night. It was all about how the police are overreacting to the peaceful protesters. We have a clip we've been showing on Newsmax of Ari Velcher, who's a pretty left-wing guy on MSNBC. Mm-hmm. And he's saying that it's really only peaceful protesters here. Meanwhile, there's fires and cars burning behind him. I mean, it's so. I mean, it's like it's like 1984, right? You just say the lie enough, people will believe it.
When you see mainstream media not condemning the lawlessness, rioting, looting, burning down buildings, I mean, I'm not going to say they're encouraging it, but they're certainly not discouraging it, Chris Ruddy. I mean, when you look at what your vision of Newsmax is and where you've gone with this, your website, your digital platform, the fact that you're on, what did you say, 700? How many cable?
We're on 70 million cable homes, but we're on 100 million. People can get us on things like Roku, Pluto, Zumo, and we're actually, if you go to your iPhone or Android app store on your phone and just download the Newsmax TV app, you can get us for free anywhere in the world, just and no paywall. So people all over the world are actually watching us. We're getting a huge number of people outside of cable, but in cable. And according to our ComScore numbers there, we're up like 200 or 300% in the past 6 months in audience. So people are voting with their feet to tune into Newsmax because they really are getting tired of the rest of the media, including Fox.
I tell you what, your app, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. I'm glad you brought that up. If you go to Fox News and you want to get something, you download their app, you get 5 minutes, and then you have to pay money. CNN, same thing. You get 5 minutes. Any of the cable stations, you get 5 minutes. You go to Newsmax, you download the Newsmax app, you click on it 24/7, you get their live programming, no paywall behind it. And I got to tell you, Chris, to be honest, I've got so many choices. When I go to a site that has a paywall that says you have to sign up for something, I just bypass it. I got too many options. I'm not going to pay for anything, so I don't do that. And I think that's one of the smartest thing you guys have done. I want to thank Chris Ruddy for being with us. Chris is the founder, CEO, and president of Newsmax. You can go to newsmax.com. This is an exclusive interview with President Trump, Sean Spicer, 6 p.m. Eastern. It'll be replayed at 9 p.m. Eastern, about 30 minutes one-on-one with President Trump tonight. Sean Spicer, our good friend. Don't want to miss that. We'll be playing excerpts of that tomorrow. Chris Ruddy, founder, CEO, Newsmax. Thanks, sir, for being with us.
Thank you.